Hello, my Q in Charge listeners and watchers. Today we have an actual person who knows how to install the charging stations for the EV infrastructure. Someone that I can say that I know almost for a decade now, and he installed about 15,000 chargers just in California. His name is Slobodan, and thank you for making the time and will to share some of your insight of this industry.
Sergey, thank you for having me, and I want to say hi to you and all our listeners.
We all know some of the issues in legislative world and ongoing bureaucracy, but however, not so many people do know the issues and potential frustrations in the industry that you have in the field, potential issues, hazards, challenges, and so on and so forth. Let's kick off this interview with a short story about who you are, how did you start in all this venture in this industry?
Well, my name is Slobodan. I'm working in the EV industry kind of last 6 to 7 years. I started as a electrician, like helper, on the multiple EV projects, working for the multiple companies, and slowly getting experience in the installing EV chargers, confronting with all challenges and demands, and within a couple of years I really practice in bring the EV installation, I would like to say, to the perfection. But there is always space for improvement, so we're always open to learn something new. But more work, more experience with the chargers.
Well, this is going to definitely lead to next question. I mean, could you potentially describe any specific training or certifications that you and your team had to undergone to specialize in the EV infrastructure of installations and everything that is in this industry?
Oh yeah, training and certifications are really important, like in whole electrical field, especially in the EV sector, EV charging sector. But there is a couple of the certifications that the electricians can get to improve their skills. So, and not just skills, it's also about safety at work. Uh, there is a OSHA trainings, of course, for that are training the people how to avoid the hazards at the work sites. Main trainings, there is a training, EV ITP, which is dedicated to the EV chargers only. Then there is multiple certification that we can get. More certifications always better, because always we're gonna expand our knowledge with the more certification and more training. But C10 licenses, journeyman licenses, like general licenses, are the best way of training.
And I assume most of these electrician has to be all certified just as an electrical installers as well, right?
Yeah, but usually in the companies, like, you can get all the certified electricians, so you need to have in the company, like, a percentage of the certified electricians and helpers who gonna work under them, apprentices who gonna working on the field, helping the certified guys. They gonna, through the process, they gonna learn how to conduct the job.
Mm-hmm.
Precisely and safe.
So so let me ask you something. Considering so far your involvement in this industry, so what key factors do you consider when you plan the timeline and the resources required for each installation project?
Oof, timeline, it's always tricky, Sergey. The most important thing is usually to get the permits. That takes most of the time. Once we have a permits and when we can start working on the project, then, like, material sourcing, that is pretty much it. Timeline depend on from the project to the project, how much time it's gonna take us to actually bring the project to the finish. but I taking in consideration usually the location where we're working, how chargers are spreaded, the, and that's pretty much it. Like sometimes we can have a project with less chargers that is gonna last longer because chargers are separated far away from each other, so you have to run the longer lines and stuff.
So it comes down to the distances and let's say time and labor that is going to be involved.
Distances and permits.
Yeah, yeah. So let me ask you. So in some of these projects, manner that you're doing with your team. So how is the best, or how do you ensure the effective communication between your team and just teams and the clients throughout the your projects and installations?
Well, usually teams who are working on the field, they don't have that much communication with the clients because most of the communication that is conducted with the client is through the project manager. Project manager is there to, keep the communication between the clients and the team who is on the field. Project manager gives all the info to the workers on the site.
So my understanding is you are a project manager, right? I mean, if you are a project manager, so how would that be, let's say, just to relay that information down from your perspective and your end?
Well, like I'm trying always to reach out to the clients to fulfill their, needs. I usually check with them where they spaces where they exactly want the chargers, how they want the job to be conducted, and like when the team is coming to the job site, parking space issues, because usually all the guys are coming with their vehicles, so we have to organize also the place where they're gonna park. I trying to coordinate that with the clients also, like just to we're trying. My goal is to, let's say, if we work in the residential building, my goal is to try that residents at the building don't notice that we're working there.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you also, okay, for example, I mean, we already know out of your couple of statements that this is a lot of things in this industry can be unpredictable, right? So how do you handle unexpected challenges or changes in the scope of the project during the installation when you already kind of kick off, and then of course something doesn't go by the plan? So how do you handle those unpredictable situations?
Well, like I always have a help of the rest, people from the office from my company, as engineers and logistic teams. So if I have any challenges or any issues, I'm trying to communicate that with more people. So like more people gonna always find the solution better, right, and faster for the issues. So that is kind of on what I rely when I challenging with issues. It's most like get a whole collective to work on the problem and problem gonna be solved fast. Right?
So what would be then, let's say, ask you this next question, a critical technical requirements and safety consideration specific to the EV infrastructure installations, and how do you ensure the compliance with the industry standards these days? I mean, we all know this is kind of still fresh, not that many standards, not that many regulations, but it is start kicking in.
Yeah, the one of the main factors there are city inspections after the job is finished, like because we're gonna complete whole project by the book and like by the compliance to the regulations that sometimes can be issue, not the physical compliance that about the job that we did, but about interpretation of these codes.
You're mainly relying that to the National Electrical Code, right?
Yeah, mostly. Not mostly. We have to follow national electrical code, but interpretations of the electrical code can be different in my eyes and in the eyes of the city inspector. So like we're trying to always, find a solution and improve ourselves if we can through the challenges.
Hmm. So let also ask you, for example, I mean, I assume that you as an electrician do not handle entirely rest of the trades that they can might be involved into this type of industry or installation. So how do you handle, or who is handling the coordination and collaboration with other trades and teams members during the on-site installation and project, just to ensure that goes smoothly the entire process of installation?
Well, as a project manager, I'm there the first person who have to ensure the communication between the other trades and other teams that are on the field and my team. So if I'm not there, of course, my team gonna try to communicate. I can always be at the field, so sometimes my team also have to communicate with other teams who are at the site. Uh, Communication is a key factor in that, because like all these trades are entertained, like tangled. So like if we are doing our runs, let's say our pipes or electrical runs, we have to communicate with the other guys, because plumbers gonna run their pipes on one side, maybe that is gonna block my pipes. So we have to ensure communication, and like just to make sure that we ain't gonna have challenges.
So just to for the sake of the listeners, they don't know most of these trades and what is involved into this. So what potential trades do you work with in the field, or kind of, so that people can listeners know which trade or type of a construction will be potentially anticipated in their properties?
Oh yeah, there is other electrical teams usually there, like who are working on the maintenance or something else. There is plumbers who are also like, because we are mostly working on the in the garages, and all the plumbing is going in the building. It's going usually through the ceiling of the garages, right? So.
Coring, X-ray.
Coring X-ray, but coring X-ray, that is actually services that we are using for our own needs. Um, uh, we have our coring teams and our X-ray teams that are not part of our company, but you have to ensure to have always people for that, because that is something that is always needed, especially X-ray or GPR scanners, because like most of the uh, uh, most of the accidents that occur actually occur during the drilling or coring.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't X-ray or if you don't GPR do the GPR scan on the concrete, it's lucky shot. You don't know what you're gonna get. So that is kind of one of the also crucial things during the project.
So let me just ask you right now to cut in while we're still on this thematic. So what would be potentially, let's say, common issues and or obstacles that you encounter during the EV installation, and how do you troubleshoot them and resolve them? I mean, there must be some issues or the obstacles that they are kind of repetitive, or that you kind of face them more commonly than the other.
Oh yeah, there is like a couple of them. Main one, I hope so. We kind of introduced the city inspectors also to this issue, because they are first bringing this issue. It's like certifications, UL listings of the certain parts of the charters, right? We're getting the charters UL listed, and then inspector comes there and said like, oh, what we gonna do about this width here, and then you have to provide whole, UL listing for whole device to prove that your device came like that out of the factory and you didn't alter anything. So that is one of the challenges that we had, but we fixed that. And second one issue with the during and after installation, it's mostly networking with the chargers.
Communication in closed spaces and concrete walls and all that obstructions, yes.
Exactly. So that is, but once when my team is done, we have also IT team, and usually they are solving this problem. If my team, like if we have a malfunctioning equipment, or if our, internet connections don't work as they supposed to, we are sending our IT team.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you, any complex installations that you had so far done, and how did you successfully complete their installation and manage their unique challenges? But probably you have some of those stories like that.
Oh yeah, like the huge projects can take, like months to finish. So we had, I had a couple of years ago, I had a project on the multi-level underground garage. The owner wanted, the client wanted all chargers to be able to work on the full capacity, right? And that is 40 chargers. So 40 chargers, 32 amps, like you do the calculation.
Yeah, we need 4,000 amps, which a lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah. So that is one of the big projects. So after it didn't took us too long to install the chargers. It was 40 chargers through 5 levels, and coring, sending pipes through level to level, and then one of the main difficulties on that job site was just so the other listeners who are not close to this subject, just to explain. So the main power to the building, usually to the huge buildings, it's coming through the switchgear, which is main distributor for the power, right?
Which we do know today that there is not sufficient capacities whatsoever for all this onboarding this infrastructure, and that's one of the main challenges I would probably see in the field these days.
Exactly. So like the bringing all the, when you have to alter anything in the switch gears, you have to do the power shutdown to bring all the, and that is huge buildings. You can just do in the middle of the day power shutdown for the business buildings. So like we have to do that or early morning or late night. Plus we have to call city inspectors, we have to call BBS, we have to call, multiple services there just to be there so we can conduct our job properly.
So this actually leads to the really interesting next question of mine. How do you prioritize, let's say, client needs versus your needs as an installing group, right? And expectations when planning these projects, so in which way, in which order do you prioritize that?
Well, we are always trying to, clients' needs are always, first priority. So we are trying to communicate with the client to find the mid ground, between what is easiest way for us to, conduct our job and the client needs. So usually we are trying to fulfill the client needs much as we can, but if we have some obstacles or issues, we're gonna introduce our client to that and try to find, trying to find the solution for that.
So do you have also some in a placement, for example? I mean, you come, you install, everything goes smoothly with these installations, and then do you have a post handling installation support and maintenance, from your team, or even the request from the clients?
Well, yeah, like the clients often want to expand their EV infrastructure. So let's say sometimes if we uh, don't place enough chargers at the location, if the clients need more chargers, they're gonna, they usually call us back, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
like once when you start dealing with one company, you have trust in that company because they did a good job and you have good experience with them, so you're gonna continue with them. And yeah, usually like, or let's say if we have to do service of the chargers, to exchange the chargers, because if you put the chargers outside 5 years or 6 years on the sun, they can last long. That is like on the hard side. So sometimes we had also, like, let's say we had 20 chargers at the location. The client called us like, okay, I want 10 chargers more, and we want to replace these chargers because they're, like already damaged from the sun, from the weather, and too old. Uh,
But my knowledge of this equipment, I mean, yes, I mean, being exposed to the weather and influences, like outdoor influences just in general, on the hardware itself, it's not gonna create much of a damage or problems,
yeah,
but it's on the softer side, right?
yeah, yeah. It's a software side. It's a, let's say, casing. It's a problem with animals, squirrels coming chewing on the charger.
Vandalism, customer neglectance as well.
Vandalism, exactly. The vandalism, where the places are not kind of guarded or protected, often happens that somebody comes there and cut the cords, charging cords from the
Mm-hmm.
charger, something like that.
So we all know also, for example, this is a new kind of industry, and it's ongoing, and it's also on a high demand. So of course, new novelties are coming, daily and as we speak. So how do you stay updated to the latest trends, technology, and advancements, just in general in the EV technology and electrical systems?
Constant research. That is, if you want to keep updated in this field, you need constantly to keep up with it, to be online, to follow the trends, to read the new stuff, to test new equipment. It's always like always learning. Like you always have to improve your knowledge about present equipment, and it's not just the chargers. It's also electrical equipment that we are working with. Like that equipment also, like, let's say, new types of connectors, new types of the conduits. You always have something popping out new from the industry that
Well, it's not only the industry; it's also the laws, standards, regulations, and everything that is changes. So people has to basically adopt and change also their equipment to
exactly
reflect that.
the laws and the regulations, they're made on the way, right?
Yeah.
We are making them on the way, adjusting them and making them on the way. Installation crews together with the city inspectors, they all have to communicate, because like these issues that we have, let's say maybe inspectors don't know about these issues. So like about certain issues we have, like sometimes when inspectors from the, I don't know, small cities or something like that, they never saw that. Like they maybe seen a couple of Teslas on the street. They don't know nothing about the chargers. They never handled the, inspection of the charger
Mm-hmm.
installation site or something like that. So like, I always trying even to introduce them and to transfer my knowledge, much as I know, to tell them, so we can all conduct our job and make safe charging stations.
So let me ask you. So feedback. It must be very important to you guys, right? So the client feedback, just in general, general public feedback, city inspectors feedback. I mean, so how do you gather, or how crucial, by your opinion, that type of a feedback after the completion of the installations and actually being people putting those chargers and stations into use? Where do you collect that feedback, and how it is important for you, for the utilization and improve the future in projects for yourself as well?
Usually, most of these applications that we are using for the initiate the chargers or for the paying for the chargers or anything like that, apps that we are using, they have a they have a feedback like option, so you can, so the users can leave the feedback over the app. But generally, for our most important feedback, it's from the management, from the client's management. When they call us and say, "Oh, this job, it's really amazing. Your guys did a wonderful job. We are using the chargers; they're working perfectly. We are looking, like." Usually with the clients like this, we just get more job for the, they give us feedback and they call us to do more job on the more locations.
Any negative feedbacks in your so far that you're aware of?
Negative feedbacks, like, you can get, like, when you're getting, usually you're getting to people free charging stations so they can come and charge their car. They're not always free. You're gonna pay sometimes, maybe depend on the building and the on the charging station. But it's sometimes people who are not who don't like that much idea of electric cars. They kind of it's, we don't have so many electric cars here, why we need the chargers. Well, by the 2035 for California, you're gonna need the chargers because you're gonna have cars.
Yeah. Well, statistically, we kind of talked about already with a lot of people in the EV industry. In generally, what is expected is per each EV vehicle that is going to be registered and owned and operated, we will need at least 3 charging stations: one at home, one at work, and one public charging, to have dependable and supportive infrastructure to support all this grow on EV industry and just EV demand. No, well, I mean, this could be kind of lead us to an end of this episode. So I'll give you a final word.
As final word, I would like to say that this EV infrastructure is really important to be built soon as possible, to be expanded because of the growing number of electric vehicles that are in use. So I see my job as a really important thing, because looking toward the future, if we want more green energy and to live on the clean planet, then to be aware just what we're gonna leave for our kids.
Yeah, not only that, creating this sustainable, infrastructure of the EV, network, because so far right now we don't have much.
Exactly. Also with the autonomous vehicles, like, it's also safer. It should be safer way of transportation. So.
Well, it should be, yes, of course, but we will see how that's going to lead in the future.
We're working on that slowly. Like, the thing is that the electric cars are sold more and more. Like.
And exactly, that's what I see as a problem. Buying an electric vehicle, it's way faster to be accomplished than actually create an electric charging station anywhere for that vehicle to be able to be charged. So that's what I find as a big problem, and we will see, like you said, in which direction all this electrification in the future is going to lead to. You mentioned autonomous driving, of course. where's that wireless charging stations, right? So how that car does not have robotic hands. So we need to kind of think of all those challenges in the future, and of course, for you as an installer in the field, how you will implement and create new protocols of installation for all this. So that's it. Again, Slobo, thank you for again joining to today's interview and show. This was really very insightful, and I hope that our listeners will gain out of this some of the knowledge and basic understanding of in-field frustrations, potential hazards, issues, and problems that you and your team and many other people that are in this field facing daily through this job and installations.
Thank you, Sergey. Looking to see you forward again.
Well, that would be all for today's episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. We need you, and there is a lot of information out there that listeners and viewers and people like you would definitely find it helpful. And we are here to bring all that information as we can and as much as we can. So please send us your inquiries, questions, and we will work diligently to solve and bring you as much as we can to our episodes. Stay cool in these heat days, and see you soon next time.